overwhelmingly shocked at your response, at the media's response to Kanye's recent arguments, okay? Just in case you don't know, Kanye has been tweeting his thoughts on racism, on his support for Trump, on his idea of slavery and how it took place, because everybody has an idea. And I'm gonna explain that here in a moment. But I think this was the biggest shocker of it all. Take a look.
For 400 years, that sounds like a choice.
Now, I'm gonna say this as plain as I can without any of the extra stuff. I'm even putting down the wine for this one here, okay? Because I think that the focus of this and the way the media spun his comments and decided not to offer a point of reference to where Kanye was speaking from. Because when somebody makes a statement, you always have to go back to the reference point. You just can't take their word as it is just because he's a highly paid entertainer, a highly paid artist, fashion designer, just because he has millions of followers and access to some of the biggest companies out here in the world, and just because he's friends and has connections with a lot of the people that we look up to. We cannot, as a people, hell, I tell my daughter this, just take someone's statement at face value without a reference point. And a lot of people fail to ask this. What is Kanye really saying when he made that statement regarding slavery and that it was the people's choice and their fault when it came to their enslavement? What is the reference point? The reference point is when you got a man, an African-American man, hell, he ain't even got to be African-American, and he spoke of being addicted to opiates, and he spoke of being prescribed medications to deal with his mental illnesses. I don't know if y'all saw the interview with him and Charlamagne the God. Before you saw the TMZ fuckery that went down, and they only chose to show you what they wanted you to see. Shit that was going to directly piss you off like it did. They didn't show every single thing. When Kanye spoke to Charlamagne, before I tell you exactly what his reference point was, because he spoke about the reference point, he talked about his fear. He talked about his anxiety. He openly admitted to having somewhat a mental illness, which I believe personally, I'm not a doctor. He was probably diagnosed with 1, narcissism, with 2, obsessive compulsive disorder, and 3, post-traumatic stress disorder, which in turn would explain why he said he was prescribed 7 pills and he's not in therapy like he explained to Charlamagne. If most of y'all would have watched that interview, Kanye in human form, you would have been able to see the selective material that TMZ decided to put out to have us reacting the way that we're reacting, calling for Adidas to drop his contract so that he can't make any more shoes, calling for his record label to drop it. And now everybody's rallying around to mute Kanye, someone who's never hurt anybody, been a threat to anybody other than himself. And I don't even think he was a threat to himself. He's never done a Harvey Weinstein or R. Kelly or any of that shit. Kanye just simply wants to be himself. And so let me break down what you missed, because like I said, had most of you would have watched the interview that he did with Charlamagne in his all-white house, the one he tweeted about when everyone said that Kanye is in the sunken place, and he tweeted back and said, does this look like the sunken place? No, it doesn't look like the sunken place. His house is mimicked just like a mental asylum. The ones that were quite popular back in the day when folks such as Kanye expressed themselves in a way that was not normal to any of us. You know, it's what he was speaking of, free thought, the fear of not being accepted, the fear of being oppressed. And before you cut off this video saying, Tasha, I know that you're not taking up for him. No, I am simply stating his point of reference, because before you get mad and before you give your energy that could be used to actually do some greater good and explain to your children, once you get the point of reference, because our kids do look up to public figures like this. And yes, it is a sad situation to kind of see someone of Kanye's status speak on what a lot would call an ignorant level. And it in turn makes you afraid because you don't want your children expressing those same thoughts, especially if you came from what I came from and what my ancestors came from, because my ancestors were direct slaves. What happened is he expressed the thought of being fearful, of being anxious, of being silenced. He just wants to be a free thinker. And in turn, out of him expressing his humanness, we decided to say, you know what? That's not human. That's animalistic. That's crazy. That's ignorant. But when you considered Kanye West's point of reference, none of this would have came across as what the media built this up to be. A black man who is severely brainwashed by his own wealth and the people that he's surrounded by. That's not what this is, guys, okay? No. Whenever you have a person that expresses a thought, this goes back to the basics if you went to school. Now, you talking to somebody that was in the 9th grade for 3 years, but I decided to go back and get my education, and so I'm able to sit here even though I was told when I was going through my shit, like Kanye was going through his shit, because I can relate to that I wasn't gonna be shit, that I didn't need to speak up, that I didn't have any valid thoughts or could move the people as Kanye has spoken of for many years. This is a conversation he's always had personally. This is why it's important for us, and I keep repeating this, all right? For us to look at the point of reference. Kanye, when he spoke of slavery being a choice, he was merely, okay, and I'm rubbing my hands like this because the lines are blurred, the lines are crossed, and this goes for each and every one of us. When Kanye spoke from his own point of reference, meaning his own experiences, what he has gone through, whether he has money or not. Just because a person has money and just because a person has been labeled by the media as a genius because he made a few hit songs and he was able to reach the people in ways through his music that a lot of people and a lot of artists couldn't, and everybody has these expectations of a human being that is simply like us every day without the money, without all of the fame. He is human and we see that, but we've chose to label that as animalistic, as ignorance, and as barbaric, and as completely out of touch with humanity. Kanye West is actually completely in touch with humanity, and I say this because when a person always makes a statement, none of us really know the true story of how things really went down. All we can do, and I hope that you're really getting what I'm saying here, all we can do is look at a situation, something that we've read about, that we've been told, mainly by non-black authors, okay? A lot of us, majority of us, got education from non-black folk, non-African, meaning that whatever our point of reference is, it always points back to our personal experiences. What Kanye spoke of when he said that he truly believed that slavery was a choice is because he's basing slavery as we all base our own personal experiences or anything that happens outside of us based on our own personal experiences, meaning things that we're going through. We always go and look and search for information. Sometimes it can be on opposite ends of the spectrum, meaning it can be as mild and as sensitive as it can, or it can be extreme and dramatic. And Kanye is on the extreme side, meaning his views are blurred because he is seeing himself in that enslavement, meaning that if I am a black man and I've been told that I can't do this, and I've been told that this is as far as that I'm gonna go, and I can't express my free thought without people calling me crazy, and they're trying to silence me with medications, with hospitals, because he is such an extreme individual, because he is such a dramatic individual, the thing that he's going to relate to the most is somebody or something that was in a position just as extreme and as dramatic as he is going through right now. Kanye used merely a point of reference to explain how he was feeling and what he thought based on his own oppression. That's how we have to look at conversations, guys. We cannot look at anybody and say he's speaking for the free will of the people. That's not what Kanye is doing, although that does translate into us becoming more woke, us being able to see through the blurriness, which I'm explaining right now, which a lot of people only saw him say what he said at face value and did not take a second to see where Kanye is coming from, meaning where did he get his sources? How is he being educated? That goes merely back to you fact checking. And so when we have someone in Kanye's position who we've looked at as a genius, which in my opinion, we should have only looked at his genius level according to his talent, because that's all that we saw. We've never saw him as a political leader. Kanye is a genius at art. And so when he does speak of sensitive issues like this, that manages to rattle a lot of folk. And it rattles a lot of folk because a lot of folk don't want to take the time to shut off the TV and take a step back back and say, is what I'm being told, is this information that's being disseminated to me, is it true? And if it's true, where is their point of reference? Where is Kanye's point of reference coming from? And if anybody has looked back and has listened to any of Kanye's interviews, and if you've watched this Charlemagne the God interview that he did with Kanye, and that's the reason why Charlemagne the God chose not to drag Kanye, and he chose to allow Kanye to freely express himself without placing any judgment. And I commend Charlemagne the God on that. That's an educated black man. A black man who is telling another black man who is being medicated, who is being thrown in mental asylums. And when he looked at Kanye in the eyes and said to Kanye, Kanye, do you have a therapist that you're able to talk to? Because myself, meaning Charlemagne, he goes to see a therapist every Friday at 3 o'clock, and me, including myself, Tasha, I go and meet with a therapist every Monday at 12. Because when you are in a leadership position, when you are someone that people take very seriously, we do have to proceed with caution to make sure that when we're speaking to the people, that our own point of reference does lead back to something with foundation, something that supports itself. And if Kanye isn't mentally and physically and spiritually supporting himself, and he's choosing to medicate himself, because like a lot of black folk think, I don't need therapy, let me just go ahead and put myself on this medication, the fast way out, that will get me over this hump and get me back to normalcy, that will get me back to what this society calls a normal state of mind. I don't think he would be in this situation that he's in right now, getting slandered and slaughtered by the media. The next time everybody want to go ahead and jump on the bandwagon of dragging someone just because they're stating an opinion based off of their own personal experiences, even though they may be far-fetched and out of this world and sometimes unrealistic, we all have to understand that where we speak from, where our foundation is where we will always come from. Meaning whatever Kanye says is going to be based off of his reality and his reality only. Now I gotta go. Now, before I go, let me go ahead and drink this wine here. Woo! Okay? Let me sip, because I need a sip right now. Now, before I go, all right, because I had to take this sip, y'all, I am drinking something that's a little different today. This was grown in Barcelona, and this wine was grown using a Macabeo grape. And I hope I'm saying that right in Spanish. I'm not Spanish at all, okay? This is a Macabeo grape, which is a very dry white wine. And it complements a lot of like seafood dishes like clams, scallops, linguinis with Alfredo sauces and things like that, because it kind of helps to even out those really rich sauces, okay? And this is a wonderful, like I said, crisp Mediterranean grown white wine, and I got this all for $11.99, okay? And I'm gonna leave the link below so that you can Google it and purchase it for yourself, okay? Now, for those of y'all that want to expand your wine knowledge, all right? And you want to know what to order when you go out, I am partnered with the Tasting Room, okay? And I love this company because it gives you an opportunity all for $9.95 to sample 6 different wines according to what you put in, meaning the foods that you like, meaning if you like spicy foods, sweet food, dry food, sour foods. We all know that wine kind of helps to bring out the flavors in most food. And this company allows you to sample 6 different wines, and it teaches you how to pick wines. So when you're out eating, you know how to order wines according to the flavors that you like. And then it gives you a chance to sample 6 different wines from all over the world that you may have not ever ordered if it wasn't for this sample, okay? Because half the time we can't even pronounce most of these. I gotta Google them, okay? $9.95. I will leave the link below so that you can purchase this for yourself, okay? Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, subscribe. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at UNWINEWITHTASHAK. If you want to advertise on any of my platforms, please feel free to email me at unwinewithtashak@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to work with you to create an advertising plan within your budget on my channel, okay? And hell, if you didn't like this video, you can still subscribe anyway, just so you can cuss my ass out. Not that I'ma really give a damn anyway. Now I gotta go. Bye.